Hey everybody, how you going? Let's just get started straight away. My name is Krista. I'm Little Wren, and I'm just here to do, um, I guess, an energy check. Just see what's happening for people, and um, really just to help anybody who's searching to come up with um, an answer, or whether they're feeling confused or conflicted, um, anything that might be on your mind. I'm simply going to read whatever the cards tell me. Today is the most glorious day. I've got the sun streaming in through my front door. It's warm. For those who can't pick up my accent, I am Australian, so we're in the kind of in winter at the moment, and I've been so cold, but today it's so gorgeous and lovely. It feels like almost like a summer day, but it's still in the middle of winter, but it's really lovely, and I'm really liking it a lot. So anyway, we'll just give the cards a shuffle and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I hope you've been well. And yeah. Woo! Wow. All right. Got the Wheel of Fortune on the bottom of the deck. Sometimes when you can read the bottom of the deck as a little bit more of a hidden energy, it's in the upright. Fantastic. Great news. Wheel of Fortune really can just show I think, a positive shifts and changes in good directions. That's two really major arcanas here. The World card, which is just flown out onto my other cards, and I'll probably end up using some of those decks that it's landed on. For those of you who are new to me, I do like to do a lot of learning, a lot of education, a lot of teaching about the tarot, so that you can learn how to do it yourself. I'm always going to say, please trust your own energy before you ever trust mine. Really, I'm here to help you and to guide you, and I want you to learn for yourself whatever is resonating for you. So you'll hear that kind of language all the time. When you hear tarot readers talking about intuition, resonance, we're talking about energy fields and energy that's coming into your space or that you're in. And my hope for you is that you are 100% learning to trust your energy first. Sometimes when tarot readers are reading, what we're doing is we're looking at whatever is the strongest kind of energy, whether someone's trying to communicate to you or whether spirit is just simply trying to communicate to you. And we do often feel a very vast difference in energy and flow. And sometimes it's about you. It's about really for you to see yourself and to understand that the spirit world, the spirit energy fields are there for everybody, and it's really learning to understand how we actually communicate. What we see in the 3D world, and the 3D world just refers to the physical world. When you see a physical person, when they're communicating verbally or in the writing or whatever it is, that is simply one form of communication, but there is a level of communication that lies underneath that, and the spiritual community refer to that as energy, and this is what they're referring to, is learning to hear the language of energy, and that's something that we give off. So it's an aura, it's a sensation, it's really everything to do with your sensory or your sorry, your senses. It's everything to do with your senses on every level. So what you feel through your body, and so it's connecting the physical world, your physical body, to the spiritual energy body, the fields that you can't see. But once you do start to align to those things and start to learning to um, understand those feelings, then it gives you actually a greater sense of the world around you and a better way. I actually think it's the more true way of reading what's actually happening, which is so strange because you would think that what you see is right, but very often when we're sensing something and we're seeing something else, I kind of talked about this before. It's interesting that it's coming up now. I'm channeling a lot, you see. So what happens is that we might have the physical world, and you might have the spiritual, energetic world, and if those two aren't aligned, what you'll see is someone who might say one thing, but they're actually the feeling and the sense that you and the reality you're getting from them is something completely different. And what you're seeing is someone who is not aligned in their beliefs. So they might have conflicting beliefs from within them. And really, what we want in order to heal yourself, it's all about coming into alignment. We have many different ways of talking about that. You see religions all around the world talking about those kind of things. So you've got the yin and the yang, the divine feminine, the divine masculine. You've got your conscious, your subconscious. You kind of look at it in all kinds of different ways, and there's all over the world you'll see different ways of describing really probably the same thing. But really, for me, it's kind of quite basic to, if you consider it inner beliefs that are not aligning. So I believe that there is always an inner truth, the authentic self, and then you have the external self. And when you see really successful, happy people, they are people who are simply aligned with the truth of who they are, and they have removed all toxicity, all false beliefs, all negativity, anything that doesn't align with the authentic self. They've managed to remove that and live according to their truth. And the question is always, when we're not aligned, we often feel very unhappy, unfulfilled, insecure, unsafe, and quite miserable, really. And the way to really find your happiness is to align beliefs consistently so that they match. So what you see is that your spiritual, your sensory world aligns to your physical world. So this is really the path of healing. It's quite common sense if we can take all the mysticism out of it, but at the same time, the mysticism is really beautiful, and there is something very magical about energy and understanding what energy is and how we can learn to hear it so that we understand it better. The tarot really works with energy. So what happens is that it's often about manifestation, and also the spirit world working with you to help you see what's happening, what the truth of a situation is, because so often when the physical world is saying something very different from what your inner world, your inner spiritual world is saying, it's very, very confusing. We might feel one way, but we're seeing something very different. And that conflict is really a lack of alignment between both sides of the energies, of the physical energy, the physical world, and the spiritual inner world. And really it's learning to bring those two to harmony. So anyway, I'm quite excited. I thought, I just got this real feeling of excitement. To see these two cards, so sorry, the World card and the Wheel of Fortune, sorry, in the positive, in the upright, and this one's landing so square bang up here as a I most could describe this as a heading if I was writing a story. Yeah, interesting that I'm using that language. We'll see what comes out while we're talking about stories or narratives, a narrative. But the world is in the upright. And to me, when I see that in the upright, there's something very balanced, very good, very positive. This is a big shift. When I'm seeing both of these cards, the Wheel of Fortune, I'm going to refer this as kind of as the luck card. Lucky. Something feels very lucky. And the world is everything's in alignment. Everything's moving forward. You've got the four corners of the world. You've kind of got your air energy, someone who's floating. You've got your eternity, your forever symbol. You've got your scrolls. You've got your angel. This is very divine, etheric, heavenly is what I'm feeling is the heavenly card that's coming today. And you've got three eternity kind of symbols here in the world card. You've got your circle, and that's why when we get married, we wear rings, because circles in are there's no end. You know, there's no end when you that's the kind of symbolism of a ring, and that's when we look at circles. We look at there's no ending to that cycle, you know, and you have the same thing here when you see a knot. This is kind of like an eternity symbol up the top and down below, and interesting that there's two, but you see those in the figure eight. The figure eight, and you do see that on the magician as well. That's over the magician's head is that the eternity symbol. Again, it's another symbol of forever, of eternal. That's word, sorry, that keeps coming up. So that is something that is really resonating today. So let's just see what's fallen out. I'll just put this one to the side. And we'll just go from there. Ooh. So not necessarily a dark card, but we will look at the cards. And again, I'm really here to help you understand what the tarot is saying, what they're implying and indicating. And I know this looks quite tumultuous, and most certainly it can be, but what's aligning at the beginning of this, the energy that I'm feeling is real positivity, excitement. I'm really excited, despite what I'm seeing here. So we will see. Okay, so I'm feeling a shift of the energy there. Again, this is heavy. So all the readings that I've done so far have been incredibly dark and heavy. And yet, right just before, so the energy has just shifted altogether. So we have a lot of swords here, and again, swords often will refer to communication, truth, really those kind of elements. It's an air sign. So when you see swords in the tarot, you really want to think, if you're going to relate it to astrology, you're going to look at your air signs, so your air elements. And air, when we're talking about air, sorry, this is my mouth this way, we're talking about speaking, communication, truth. When I think of truth and I think of swords, I always get that Bible verse that we talk about, the sword of truth. It's the double-edged blade, and it cuts through everything. There's no stopping it, and it is painful. It's excruciating, But when we see tens in the tarot, we always know that tens are referring to completion. The it's the either the end or the beginning or the best. It's the fullest card. It's the fullness when we're talking about. This is the ultimate kind of. It can't get worse than this. It can't get better than this. This is either the best or the worst. And we have our Ten of Swords. So yeah, so that's what we're looking at when we're looking at tens. And this card, as painful as this is, and here's someone who has finally gone down. I'm going to say finally gone down, because this person has survived 9 swords in the back. But they finally have, by the time 10 swords have come, now this person, I'm going to use the word death. And when we look at the tarot, when we're looking at death, we're looking at change, at something that has come to an end. There's a final completion. There is no more that can. This person cannot go any further. They've fought an incredibly intense battle. It's had a lot of darkness. There's darkness, but this card is I want to reassure you, I want to encourage you that despite how painful this is, what we see is a clearing, okay? And you see golden light coming through. This is a dawning of truth, when we've had so many truths that have come, and we finally surrender to whatever these truths have been trying to tell us and communicate us. We can fight it, but by the time it hits here, it's lethal. It's done. We can't fight this anymore. This is the truth, and it's here to stay. And this is someone who cannot fight this any longer. This is actually a really important and positive place to be, despite how it feels. And I want to reassure you about that. Please don't fear something like this. This is something similar when we get the Towers, when we get the Death card, when we get the Judgment cards. These cards and these times in our lives that we come to a position where we've been experiencing excruciating hardship, pain, suffering, confusion, conflict. You know, I mean, who's on the other side of this? Who's delivering these swords? It's either, well, who knows? Only you know that. Only you know that. And that's not for me to say. But whatever it is, strangely, this is the beginning of something glorious, beautiful. Oh, look, I feel like, again, I just feel like the darkness is rising away. And I feel really excited. So we'll come back to that. Then we've got our Two of Swords. Now, many people see this as someone who's when people see the blindfold and they see this position, many people, tarot readers, read this as yes, it's very defensive, but they kind of look at it as this woman is sitting here blindfolded, and so therefore they can't see. They're not seeing the truth. They're not wanting the truth. They're defensive. All that kind of stuff. However, I'm going to suggest to you. I'm going to explain to you how I read this card. And I also read, I think it was the Seven of Swords in the same way. I love this card. From the first time you look at it, it's very defensive. It looks like this person is shutting themselves down. And look, sometimes when you're reading cards, the energy can shift in that way. And I think you should always interpret it how you want to interpret it. However, I'm going to tell you how I really see this card because I love this card. What I see is someone who, yes, is crossing their heart. They're defending their heart. They're defending themselves with two truths. They're sitting here as a woman. She can look quite vulnerable because she can't see her enemy, right? However, this person is doing this on purpose. It's not like they can't put the sword down and take the blindfold off. This person is not bound. They're choosing to sit here at night time in the moon. And often when we're looking at the moon, we're looking at someone at nighttime, someone who is, often we can think of the moon as secretiveness. It's nighttime, there's a lot of water, and when we're looking at water, we're looking at emotions, at feelings, at sensation. We know that often eyes around here, we're looking at the third eye, and someone is sitting here deliberately. This woman is sitting here deliberately, happily blindfolded, not needing to see the physical world because they're trusting their inner self. This person has two truths that she's holding on to. She understands what they are. She's defending herself and her heart with these truths. And she's trusting what she can't see physically. She's trusting her inner self. And I just think this is one of the most powerful cards, and anyone who embodies this kind of energy is really in a place of power. The people that we see seated are often kings and queens. We don't know that. She's not sitting there she's not really sitting on a throne. She doesn't need it. She's okay. She's just a simple person who is trusting her intuition, but she is defending herself. It's kind of like, I'm getting the Karate Kid. I can't even remember seeing, but I'm getting that Karate Kid scene where it's like he's blindfolded and he's learning, I guess how to trust his intuition. I don't even know what the scene is. I'm just getting the Karate Kid. It's that ninja kind of, that inner warrior, someone who is completely trusting in their third eye, their emotions, their spirituality, their feelings. So I just think this is someone, she's quite secure, this person. So that is my take on it. But I would also entrust you, again, for you to trust what you see and what you perceive, okay? Many people see this in a different way, and I see the same kind of readings about the cards online all the time. However, I see this card very differently, and I love it. I think it's a really cool card. Over here we have our Eight of Cups, and we have someone, so cups again is always referring to emotions, positive feelings, good things, investments, things, when you're drinking out of a cup, you're drinking something that you want, that you desire, that is, when you're thinking about water or something that's drinkable, we're thinking about something that is quenching, that is good for us. that we desire. And however, for whatever reason, this person has walked away from Eight of Cups. There's a sense that when I see this cloaked figure, they're walking away from Eight of Cups of something. Right now, I'm getting a feeling that there's something sad about this figure. And of course, we have the moon. And again, when we look at the moon, this is a full moon too, might we just point out. And I do believe full moons are when energies are at a peak. For whatever reason, something's going on, and it's not exactly a happy looking moon. It's kind of like a sad, I don't know, something sad about this figure of the moon. At the moment, I feel like sadly walked away, but walked away nonetheless. And I feel like this is an inner thing that this person did. However, again, for me, I always do like to read things in how they fall, where my cards lie is really significant when I'm reading. And I do read reversals most of the time. I do have some decks that I read. I've had some really strong messages of never read these in reverse, so I always turn them. I'm like, okay. But most of them, I do read reversals quite often. Again, that's something that you have to trust on your own energy and your own readings when you do them. So this is in reverse. And when I look at the figures about where they're going, this person is heading in this direction. And they're not walking away. So they're walking towards something, but this is someone who isn't walking away. They're walking towards, and that's the difference when I read this card in reverse. It's suddenly quite positive because it's in reverse. This is quite, if it was in this direction, you'd see this person is walking away from this figure. However, in reverse, I'm seeing it walking towards this figure. So, yeah. For some reason, I wasn't really feeling this, and I initially felt this was a different energy. However, I feel like this, now when I look at it and in the way I've described it to you, I'm really feeling like this feminine energy here, this Two of Swords person, is the one that has actually experienced this Ten of Swords. And this is why this person is in defense. This, however, I feel is a different figure who, for whatever reason, maybe at some point had walked away, but now is coming back towards this figure. And this person is really standing in defense, but they're trusting themselves because they've been through this. They've been through a Ten of Swords, but Ten of Swords, as hard as that journey has been, is always, in the long run, the lessons we learn in this space, in this time period, is so powerful. It's taught us great things. And despite each of these swords painfully putting us to death, it's putting to death things that no longer serve us. And each sword brings wisdom. And I'm feeling that the thing I'm getting is inner alchemy, is that we're turning base things into gold, into something very powerful, usable, and valuable. And this person has certainly gotten to that point, and that's why they can sit in this position. So I think, and again, this is really, I cannot help but feel that there's some real positive energy that's coming in here. This is past energy. For me, I'm feeling like there's a lot of past energy, and yet there's some current positive things that are going to happen on either side of this. This is how I want to read that, is that you've got your Wheel of Fortune down the bottom here, and this is the overarching energy. So there's a lot of positivity. The past has been very difficult, but we're moving forward, and we're really guided by the divine. We're guided by ourselves, our own intuition and our own value, and that is an incredibly powerful place to be. So how exciting. I just feel really, really, really energized and excited. I can really get excited. I really love my Starseed oracle cards. They are very positive. So we'll have a look at that, and we'll see, and then we'll leave it for you to continue on. Wow. Okay. This has just come out. Advancement. I didn't read it first, so I'll let you read it first. A strong energy is propelling you forward. Follow the stirrings of your heart. And this, see, this is so affirming. It fell onto this card again. It's someone who's walking towards. And what do we know? This person is trusting their heart, and this person has to do the same. Whatever energy it is, trust your energy, trust what you feel, trust how you are being guided. Don't trust me, trust you, and you will be led in the right way. I just feel like that is so powerful. This fell onto me. So again, I am going to give you I want you to understand that whatever I'm teaching you here is also for me. And that's, I want you to understand, nothing that I say or speak is, I am bound to these things as well. And creation. This often comes out for me at the moment. Being creative is a wonderful way of witnessing the unfolding of your limitless creative soul. Isn't that the truth? So, on that note, my friends, I love you. I care about you. I want you to heal. I want you to align yourself so that you no longer have any suffering or pain. You put away that can be a past energy. We do not have to suffer in this world. And that has been a really difficult thing for me to understand as well. Suffering isn't necessary, but it does teach us wisdom. We can turn our suffering into gold. Use the wisdom that you get through the hard things that you endure. Take care. Keep going on your journey. Enjoy all the sunshine. Enjoy your life. Enjoy every beautiful thing that comes your way.